We are live. It is Friday, October the 18th, 2019. And of course, we've got two Lindas with us so far, and I'm just waiting for the delay to catch up so we know that we've got more than just the two, because it's saying 0, but we've got 2 people responding in the chat. So we've got people gathering, and we're glad you're here. We're glad you're here, Linda and Linda. We are, man, it's slowed there. Now we've got 22, so take it away, Larry.
All right, folks, I'm sorry. I don't sound very good today, but I don't feel very good. It's been a long day already. A couple of issues that need to be brought out on this Friday. Of course, as I told y'all yesterday, the Nick Mulvaney quote in his press conference, the media has picked it up and it has gotten legs in the media, where I figured it would go. But once again, guys, this is so silly to talk about, because every president, every government has done it and does it. But the best example is Joe Biden and his son Hunter. There was a blatant case of where Joe Biden told the government of the Ukraine to fire the prosecutor that was coming after his son's company, or he would pull the 1 million or whatever it was deal from going through. 6 hours later, they fired him, the deal went through. It's called leverage. Leverage. That's what diplomats do. That's what our diplomacy does. You know, the whole point originally, supposedly, of giving all of these monies to these other countries is to try and get them to make changes inside their countries. Most of the times we claim it's to get them to do humanitarian changes. Stop killing people, stop this, stop that. It's done all the time. He wasn't lying. It's done all the time. But there's a difference between leveraging our aid packages to foreign entities. There's a difference in leveraging our aid packages to foreign entities and extortion. What Biden did is extortion for criminal purposes, interceding in a criminal investigation. What Trump did, as the transcript shows, states, he didn't seek quid pro quo. He didn't seek any relief to benefit him or his family or his money in any way, or even his campaign. Remember when this went, oh, Joe Biden wasn't the candidate, or he wasn't the leading candidate. If he was the leading candidate, so what? At that stage, it's impossible to know who's going to be the Democratic nominee for president. So, I mean, it's absolutely insane. But does it matter today? No. No. Does the truth matter today? Not if it doesn't get told. So everybody can get all horned up and get all fired up over Mulvaney and what he said. But what he said was the absolute truth. And if people can't take it, if people can't accept that truth, then we need to get out of the foreign aid business altogether. Because to my knowledge, we have never, now listen to me, we have never made one aid package available to a country other than at a time when they're in a crisis like an earthquake or tsunami or something like that. The general aid packages that we we give to other countries are always tied to some move our government wants that government to perform. You got it? So as you're talking to people, tell them the truth. Tell them the truth about it. There has never been, as I say, with the exception of tragedies like earthquakes and tsunamis, other than that, every aid package we offer to any country has some deal in it for the government, the sitting government, to make a change that we want made. That, my friends, is foreign diplomacy. That is diplomacy in the United States. Okay? There was no quid pro quo. None. And as for him asking the president of the Ukraine, or prime minister, whatever the hell he was, as for him asking him to look into the deal with Biden and his son, once again, I ask you to simply look at the truth, the law. The law is that President Trump is the top legal person in the United States of America. He's it. I would find it very difficult for, say, a rank and file member of the FBI to go calling the president of Ukraine and asking him to look into some potentially nefarious deal. They would probably never even get to talk, wouldn't even come through. So then the only other option would be through diplomatic channels, which by the time diplomatic channels would have been worked out, Biden would have been dead, and this whole thing would be years and years and years old, and nobody would care. So using his position as the president of the United States and using his responsibility, or abiding by his responsibility as chief law enforcement officer of the land, what he did was absolutely apropos. It was done. It's okay. There's no call for impeachment. They know it. They know. Schiff and all of those crazies know there's no call for impeachment there. Can't be. Cannot be. That's why they tried the subpoena trap and are still trying it, but I think that's been put to bed fairly well. To remind you what the subpoena trap is, using this whistleblower concocted story as another excuse to subpoena people around Trump to come in and testify before a rigged committee that's violating every protocol that's ever been placed on committee rules, knowing that Trump would be in a position to not allow those people to go to honor the subpoena. Schiff and them were hoping to use that as a form of obstruction of justice, which would be an impeachable offense that they could possibly go after. But as I've told you, I think that has been soundly put down. Now, it's never 100% guaranteed put down, but I believe it's down and cannot happen now. Thanks to a couple of moves that were made that you probably didn't know about other than hearing it here, and probably no one else has heard about it because if they didn't hear it here, it didn't get talked about much. What was that move? One of them was President Trump sending Pelosi a letter demanding that if they want to continue with these endless hearings, trying to trap the president or people around him, that he demanded that she call for a vote of the complete House of Representatives and actually start an impeachment impeachment inquiry through the proper channels, through the proper way, through the House impeachment, which therefore then would give President Trump and his legal team the ability to reciprocate with discovery. They would be able to ask people questions. They would be able to subpoena people to come and testify. And Lord knows Pelosi and Schiff can't allow that to happen because they can't run the risk of President Trump and his legal people or the Republicans in the House on the committee getting people in front of them that might accidentally mess up and let it out that it's all been a scam. So there's that. So there is that for you, for all of you. The next thing that I wake up to this morning at about 5 o'clock is there is a flap going on that, oh my God, the 120-hour peace plan to hold up fighting in Syria, the northern region of Syria, has fallen completely apart. I'm sure most of y'all have heard that, or some variation of it. I have dealt with that very closely today. And I can assure you that the 120-hour ceasefire is still in the making, in the works. But I need to tell y'all a little bit, I guess, maybe I should have yesterday, about a ceasefire like this one. Maybe there's something I should have told y'all. When you have sectarian generational feuds, it's not as easy as picking up the phone and saying, okay, guys, everybody call off the fighting, and we're all going to cease fire for 120 hours and try to work something out. Let me explain why. Number one, if you've ever been in that region, as I have, if you've ever been with the different military groups that are running around in that region, as I have, you would know that communication is a little bit complicated. You take a ragtag group of Kurds that have lived in the mountains, haven't seen anybody for 2 or 3 weeks, do not have field communication capabilities other than people coming and telling them stuff. You see, don't you, that they can very easily not get the word that they're not supposed to be fighting. Most probably, that's going to be the biggest distraction to a 120-hour ceasefire. Then you got another thing. And that's why I never want it to happen here. When a man watches his son, his daughter, his grandchildren, when he watches them be brutally killed, tortured even, right in front of him, you can't just turn that off in him. You can't. So we've got people that have got bitter feelings that rational thinking, just to be honest, can't penetrate. It just can't. I don't know what people think about over there. But the biggest fear I have is we look at over there as though it were here. We look at people there and we think that they think like we do. They don't. even thinking and giving that leeway, I hope you understand that if somebody tortures and kills your children and grandchildren right in front of you, when you see that person again, I doubt there's going to be, and I'm talking about an American, I'm talking about any one of you, I doubt there's going to be any kind of 120-hour ceasefire that's going to put out the fire inside of you to kill the person that did that to you and your family. It's hard. That's why these conflicts have lasted centuries. Mm-hmm. Because once they start, the deep-rooted hatred, and I'm talking about well-founded hatred, hatred because of brutality, hatred because of inhumane treatment, this well-founded hatred, you can't make it just go away. Even if you do hear the order to cease fire, you just can't. So when somebody asks you over the weekend, well, boy, this 120-hour ceasefire didn't work so good. No, that's not true. That is not true. They're trying to make the 120-hour ceasefire work. And they're trying to make it work in some of the worst and hardest and most impossible conditions you can imagine. But they're trying. And with Lord willing, and if everybody will stay on the same page with the president and back him, we can see a difference. We can see a change that can at least call off the invasion of Turkey into Syria, northern Syria. But I do warn all of the Schiffs and the Pelosi's and the Schumers that just want to use this ceasefire as another political football just to get at President Trump. And they are, and they're trying, but I would warn them. If the ceasefire does not function 100% perfectly, that's normal. But if it fails totally, then I'll tell you what's next. And I will tell Turkey, and I'll tell Syria, and I'll tell the Kurds, what's next is bad. Putin will come in. Russia will come in. Russia will come in and intercede.
So Putin hasn't gone in yet?
No.
Okay. Because that's what I was hearing in talking, the chatter I heard about this morning was...
They got troops maneuvering an all-out movement. No, it has not happened yet, thanks to President Trump. But I assure you, if all of this fails, they will come in, and President Trump will get hit over the head because of that, when in fact, that's what we want. If somebody's going to fight, if they're going to fight, if we can't stop the fighting, if we can't shut Turkey down, then you know what? Somebody else needs to intercede, just not us. Just not our sons and daughters.
Now, a lot of the Christians are quite hootered up, thinking that Syria, Turkey, and possibly Iran and Russia are all lining up with all this to bring in the end of the end,
I'm so sick of hearing that, Mary Ellen. I'm so sick of all of these far-fetched stories where everybody's trying to interpret this, interpret that. We may very well be in the end times, folks. I don't deny that. But God determines that. A bunch of damn idiots on the internet putting their little 2 cents in does not.
And we have been making this mistake for so many years, interpreting, oh, this is this, and this is this, and this is this, with many, many, many mistakes. And so this is why Larry says so often that we need to be careful about what we're listening to and what we're hearing. Now, look, I'm listening to it too. And I'm watching this and I'm seeing the people who are talking about how this, is the fulfillment of scripture. But remember, scripture gets fulfilled cyclically over and over and over, and prophecies will have a fulfillment and then it'll come back around and have the very same thing again. History repeats itself.
I'll tell you all this. Y'all know I've not been a good man. Probably still don't break being called a good man. And I've tried. I'm trying so hard to honor God and be what God expects me to be. But if you want to know why somebody like me, and I'm sure this is many of you out there, you want to know why I get sick to my stomach when somebody's trying to call me a Christian. I don't want to be a Christian. I don't want to be a Christian. If being a Christian means I've got to buy into every hootered up story concept that's out there, I don't want to be a Christian. Take my name off of it. Same thing with religions, all these different religions. Well, am I going to hell because I'm a Baptist? Or am I going to hell because I'm a Catholic? Am I going to hell because I'm a Methodist? You got to be dunked, squirted, whatever. Jesus made it pretty clear. I think, my opinion, and I ain't getting religion on you. My opinion is when God said all you've got to do if you want to get to heaven is go through him, and no other way is going to go to heaven except through him. That's pretty damn straightforward talk, folks. And he didn't say nothing about spinning 12 times, rubbing your belly, and patting yourself on the head 50 times to get there. Stop being used by politicians. Stop being used by so-called preachers. And stop being used as Christians. Stop it. Stop it. We're going to lose everything. We're going to lose a country that God blessed us with. And we're going to lose it over stupidness. Stupidness. Ellen told me this before we came on the program. I guess I'm not sure, but I will. Somebody on the internet, y'all probably know who it is, has figured out that beheading is the most humane way to kill people. Isn't that right, Mary Ellen?
Yeah, it was the guillotines that they're all ready, and that's the most humane way to get rid of people. Yep.
Yeah, well, let me ask any of those people saying that, how many would cut a hair off? Huh? I have. Nothing to brag about, but I have.
In war.
I've seen a lot of dying. And that ain't necessarily no more humane than anything else. As for me, I would always prefer getting shot right between the eyes. Don't go sticking my head in no damn guillotine. But don't you see how people get stuff wrong? Makes sense, I guess. It's over in a split second. So you think, well, let me tell you something, folks, it's not over in a split second. When your head gets cut off, I assure you, if your head's cut off by a guillotine, you will see your head fall into the basket that catches it before you go all the way dead. Pretty miserable. I'm sick of hearing this stuff. Sick of it. And y'all can chastise me all you want to. You can call me all the horrible names that you feel compelled to call me. every one of them. But at least on this day, I'm standing and fighting the only way I know how to keep our country for my children and my grandchildren, and guess what? Yours too. Yours too. You know, I can take, like yesterday when I had to beg like a bum on the side of the road for money. Most horrible thing that could happen to somebody like me is begging you to help me. Some did, not many. Certainly wasn't enough, less than one person. And I need it today, but it won't come today. I can take that humiliation a lot better than I can take all of these fictitious stories that are floating around that people buy into and pass them around like they were the hottest thing on the bookshelf. Please, hear me. I'm working night and day for you, all of you, and for my family. Paying a hell of a price for it too, I might add.
I can vouch for the long hours he's putting in, because I'll get a call sometimes in the morning saying that he's getting ready to get on the phone. And I'm shocked at how many hours go by before he will call back and say, I just got off. Make sure you send me the link for the show today. And then he'll be getting back on, and it's late at night, and he's texting me, are you still up? I just got off the phone.
I don't want anybody feeling sorry for me for that, but I do want you to understand this is not a joke.
No.
This program's not a joke.
No.
And Mary Ellen and a few others have paid as severely as I have. Have you? Have any of you out there? Have you paid? Have you paid with everything you have yet? Have you? Praise God that there are people like Mary Ellen and a few others that have and do.
And I'm not a relative of Larry's. Somebody asked about our relationship, Larry. I first heard Larry on Alex Jones in May 2016 saying that he was starting his own radio program on June 1st, 2016. I started listening. He gave the link to how to get on that, and I started listening, and I have listened to him every day since. And when the person who was assisting him, when a couple of those other assistants fell by the wayside, he called me, and I started helping. So that's what that is. And James, I haven't figured everything out yet, but I'm getting there. So.
Well, it's Friday, so ask your questions. And yes, I'm pretty mad.
One of the James asked if there was any way for us to get one of our team here into the White House press corps.
No. And I wouldn't want any of our people a part of the White House press corps. That is a show that we want no part of. I don't recognize the press corps anymore. I don't. You shouldn't either. They're not asking questions pertinent or germane to this country. That entire press corps is in there to do one of two things. It's either there to trap and trick Trump or his people, to get him to mess up so they can make a fool out of him, or there might be somebody there trying to help him, which I see is equally as bad. Truth's truth. Shouldn't be good, shouldn't be bad. Truth shouldn't be truth. But there is no press corps anymore. hear me? There's not a press corps anymore. There's not a media anymore. And you better watch out. There's not an alternative media either. There's a whole lot of people that have a whole lot of supposed subscribers. But they're so full of shit, they don't know which ends up. They just make stuff up. Excuse my language.
They may not be making stuff up, but they're repeating what somebody else made up and don't know better, you know, because they don't have access to the truth.
Yep.
I don't think we have anything else. Watcher said he's paid with everything more than once. He's met high-ranking people in more than one secret society and is perpetually surveilled. 24 years now. And the same James asked if Alex and Matt Drudge are coordinating with the globalists.
I don't know. I really don't know. And I shouldn't think so. But then again, I have no way of knowing for certain. I mean, judge them by what they do. That's all I can tell any of you. Judge them by what they do. Not necessarily what they say, but what they do.
Has Dunford gone to Gitmo?
Huh?
Has Dunford gone to Gitmo?
Don't know. Dunford. Who's Dunford? You mean Durham?
No, Dunford, he's one of the, isn't he a general?
I don't know him if he is.
Okay.
I can't place him right now. I mean,
And
no.
yeah, Neil asked about the security of our president with all the assassination threats.
That is something we don't talk about. He is under, obviously, due to, in part, the stuff the media is doing, the stuff the Democrats are doing. They are firing people up, hoping, I'm sure, they may not admit it, but they're hoping to be able to get someone to go off the deep end and try it. But I assure you, the president's security people are very much aware of the increased pressure to protect and defend the president.
James from yesterday was repeating his question. So if he went and handcuffed himself to Schiff, what would happen? And I was thinking about that this morning.
He would be arrested.
Yeah, because they'd have a master key to unlock Schiff and let him go, and then you'd be arrested.
I have requested, maybe I'm the one that may have caused some of this, I have requested that there should be a member of Congress, a member of the House, or the member of the Senate, that if they had any courage, they would go and chain themselves, shut the door to the chamber, to the House and to the Senate, padlock themselves to the door, and refuse to let anybody in to do business. But now that's a member of Congress, member of the Senate or the House, in their respective chambers. And a citizen can't do it. What you got?
That's all we've got today so far.
Have we got anybody listening today?
Yeah, over 100.
Well, go figure. I may have upset people so bad I didn't mean to. I guess I didn't mean to, but
And it's growing. No, I think we've got more people coming, Larry. So thank you folks for sharing the video. Thank you for liking it. You're helping to bring people, and thanks for telling people about it, because that does help. Is Trudeau, someone still in the closet? What? I think he's open. Will Trump sue CNN?
All I can tell you on that front at this point in time, they are exploring their options. They are. It will tell you the details of what they're looking at, but they are exploring the options. And it's a difficult suit to bring for President Trump in the fact that he is a public figure. You know, it's kind of like me, believe it or not. I'm considered a public figure, so people can say anything about me they want to. I mean, it can be ridiculous. It doesn't matter. But as a public person or public figure, it limits what you can do under law that a normal person would have certain privileges with slander, libel, etc.
Gloria says a letter was just made available to the public about him suing CNN. Whoops, sorry, CNN, my phone just fell off. Are you there? Okay, the phone just fell off the computer. Sorry, I don't know why.
I did notice last night I was monitoring the president's rally in Dallas. What a magnificent rally. I was told there was somewhere between 20 and 30,000 people outside of the arena. Outside of the arena. Quite incredible. When we get down, when we think much is lost. Now, I know that group last night at the rally, and at all of his rallies generally, are hard base. They're not the soft base. And I can tell you this, I don't think I've ever seen a president stand alone just as a president have the kind of drawing power that President Trump does. I haven't. Even John F. Kennedy couldn't draw. He could only dream of drawing the kind of crowds Trump's drawing. That tells me that we're not alone. We're not alone. And those people that were at that rally, they'll work. Like you'll work. Like we'll work. We're hard-based. We'll work. Those people may not like everything about President Trump and his mannerisms, his habits, his delivery, whatever. They may not. But those people last night realized we're in trouble. And I assure you, rallies like that bring the Democrats to their knees. They can't draw people like that. They can't draw that kind of enthusiasm. They have to buy their enthusiasm with sweetness. Or they have to trick people. Trick people. Like Bernie Sanders. What does Bernie Sanders do? What is his streak? Bernie Sanders goes around and he plays the role of the old grandpa, and he riles up and gets all these young kids coming out, screaming and hollering for him. Oh, what a movement Sanders has, what a movement. But anybody in politics knows that half of that crowd of young people that he brings out, guess what? They won't show up and vote on election day. They don't. They got other stuff to do, partying, football games, whatever. They'll be somewhere, they won't vote.
Somebody asked, is there a way for us to attack the Democrat soft base?
There probably is, in my opinion, this is my opinion, there probably is, but I don't know that it would be well served. The time spent, whether it would be well served. We're better off spending every second of every day trying to activate our soft base. That's who we got to work on. Don't worry about theirs. Worry about ours. They've got problems with their salt base, and they know it, folks. They know it.
How or why?
I think one of the things the president's doing that's being done by Hannity and Tucker and Florrie Ingram and others, you know, they keep pointing out that all of these sweeteners that they're talking about doing, they keep pointing out that it's not going to happen. The money is just not there. They can't make the money connect. Just like in the debate, the Democratic debate, you wanted to see Elizabeth Warren wiggle and worm. Well, it was when she got squeezed on just exactly how she was going to pay for her health care thing. See, they can't answer that very well. And their salt base will pick up on that. Their salt base, remember the salt base for the Democrats is just like ours. I mean, they are generally inclined probably to be more liberal than conservative, granted. But they're not all fools. And don't be deceived by their hard base. Don't be deceived by their far left and the crazy hard base. Don't be deceived by them. If you told them you were just going to give everybody everything and it wouldn't cost the country anything, they'd buy into it. But their soft base, they're smarter than that. And they're sitting there trying to see somebody tell them on all of these sweeteners just how in the world you're going to pay for it. How in the world you're going to make it really work. That's their weakness. And they're having trouble with it. We can't get involved. They won't believe us if we tell them. They're figuring it out. They are figuring it out.
Okay, question. Ms. Walter asked, if forming or being part of a militia is considered treason, that would put a person in prison. So what's the good of a Second Amendment?
Well, I don't think I understand the premise. Forming or being a part of a militia is not treason. It's not treason. Now, if the militia group that you are a part of commits treasonous acts, yes, then it would be considered a treasonous organization. But forming your own militia, there's nothing treasonous about that.
Okay. What does the impeachment process involve?
The impeachment process involves a two-step process, much like law. The first part is in the House. That's when the House is able to bring in evidence of high crimes, misdemeanors, or whatever charge they're bringing, and they're able to present their evidence that they've amassed to justify the charges. At the same time, the opposition gets to bring in their witnesses and evidence to discredit the charges. But it's more in the line of the House portion of impeachment is more like a grand jury. It simply determines whether there is enough evidence to warrant going before the Senate or an impeachment trial. It is the Senate that holds the trial. And what happens in the Senate determines whether a president is actually impeached or not. So in the case of Bill Clinton did get through the House process, which we call he was impeached by the House, which probably might not be the exact proper term, but that's what happened. He was impeached by the House, but when it got to the Senate, they pulled their typical tricks, and he was not convicted. Now, how did they do that? Well, there was a senator from Pennsylvania, can't remember his name right now, my mind just went blank.
Tom.
Tom?
Was it Tom Dornan?
No.
It was Tom. I thought it was Tom somebody.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I forgot. And the book is.
Anyway, he was also on the Warren Commission. When he was a freshman, he was on the Warren Commission on the bullet and be a magic bullet and pull all these tricks. But anyway, so the vote ends up, if he would vote, as he had pledged to do with the other Republicans, Bill Clinton could be convicted. But when the vote came around, he did not vote to let Clinton off. What he did, he voted to abstain. He did not vote, which threw it into a tie. And at that point, in a tie, the vice president is allowed to cast a vote. And of course, Al Gore cast a vote to clear Bill Clinton. And that's one of the reasons why when Bill Clinton did not endorse Al Gore as strongly as the Gore family felt they should have when Gore was running for president, that's what started the bitter feud. Because Gore literally saved Bill Clinton's bacon. And as so many people have learned with the Clintons, you save their bacon, but if it doesn't benefit them, they'll throw you under the bus.
What about Elijah Cummings? With his death, I saw this morning several reports of, and it sure looked legit to me if the documents that were being shown were real, that in these last couple weeks he had supposedly signed some subpoenas, and Adam Schiff had co-signed, I think, and they were not his signature. I mean, they look forged, totally different signatures.
I don't believe any of that,
Okay.
Carolyn. I don't believe any of that.
So the documents they were showing were.
Why do I not believe any of that? Is because here we go again. A man dies. Although Elijah Cummings and we knew each other, and we had little, if anything, ever in common. But it's just like anybody that dies. All of a sudden, here comes the stories. Here they come. And as I have tried to warn y'all today on the internet, you can't believe documents, pictures. You can't believe anything. But I do not believe that.
Okay. Was the IG report going to be released today? Do you know anything about the declassified
report? I have warned. Several people have been stating and saying that the IG report is going to be released this Friday. I warned y'all. I told y'all the IG report is coming out, but a date certain I wasn't going to commit to. Remember? Don't y'all remember? I told you that.
Yeah, you said it was up to Barr to decide the timing and how much would be redacted. That Trump had declassified, but it was up to Barr now to take it the rest of the way.
100% William Barr's decision when he released, what parts of it gets released, if not all. And it's a lengthy report, and it's got a lot of stuff in it that I think would have to be scrutinized very closely as far as whether or not due to secret stuff, maybe it should or shouldn't be released. Anyway, it's a challenging report to declassify. I have been told that point blank. It's challenging. Then when you add when is the right time to declassify it, when is the right time when you declassify it, then there's going to be, hopefully we think, we know, we sort of know, there are going to be recommendations of grand juries or indictments. And that's all got to be timed right so that we don't end up in the wrong court, in the wrong jurisdiction at the wrong time. But never believe when you hear people say date certain. Just don't. Just don't. Now, if they say the report's being printed and it's coming out in the morning, you can probably believe that. But when you hear these rumblings that something's coming out on the next Friday, don't believe that stuff. Date certain don't stuff
Okay. Watcher asks, if what Schiff is doing is unconstitutional, why isn't someone petitioning the Supreme Court to stop him?
Well, they have taken the first step in doing just that. The first thing is they have to offer up a challenge to Pelosi to have him removed. And they have to get satisfaction there or not. And once that's done, then they have the option of taking it to court. But once again, they cannot get him removed from the House. The most they can possibly do is, due to violation of internal rules, try to get him removed as chair of the committee. They cannot go through, by the way, they can't go through court. I've been through this already with them. We can't go through court and get him censured. Censoring has to come from the ethics committee.
Paige was asking how.
Let me tell you this, guys. Listen, the system that has us by the throat is tight. I mean, guys, they've had years to perfect it. They have perfected it, and it's tough to break. You don't believe me? Ask President Trump. I'm sorry, what?
Paige was asking how Cummings died. He'd been in a coma in the hospital in a few days, so.
Well, now that's odd. If he was in a coma in the hospital for a few days, how did he sign?
Well, that's what was said by this article that showed these documents that looked like forged signatures. They were saying he'd been in a coma for a few days, so how did he sign these? And the signatures, they showed two different documents with two totally different signatures of his name.
Once again, guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being so negative to that stuff, but if you've been hoodwinked as many times as I have over the years with stuff like that, you will get quite hardened. And the hardening has become frustration now. It's frustrating because it's counterproductive.
Yeah.
Look, we're trying to prove, all of you, you know you're doing it. You're trying to talk to people and you're trying to prove to people that you talk to that we're telling the truth. And then you come, and if you're not careful and you show them something like that and it turns out to be ridiculous, we lost that person forever. We lost him. What you got?
What's your opinion on the balance at the Supreme Court right now?
The Supreme Court, in my opinion, strictly my opinion, if anybody cares.
There goes my. Are you still there, Larry?
Yeah.
I don't know why my phone is falling off the computer today. I'm not even touching it. It's weird.
Well, if anybody cares, my opinion of the Supreme Court, it was set up so that it would always be apolitical, meaning if politics would have no part. And there was supposed to be a body of men, yes, it was men in the beginning, a body of men that were supposed to be able to simply adjudicate straight out of the Constitution without any weight whatsoever, any pressure whatsoever from either party. We have violated that premise. We have. Now, the Supreme Court is pretty much just another political arm. And then whether you win or lose in the Supreme Court today simply depends on which side, conservative, liberal, has more people on the court than the other side. And it's not supposed to be that way. Never was supposed to be that way. And how we're going to change it back, don't know. I just don't know. But I know Buttigieg, or whatever his name is, and those guys that want to realign because right now they feel that they're more conservatives on the court than there are liberals. So yeah, they'd like to change it up now. That's the way they've been all along. They love the electoral college. Until guess what? Hillary loses because of electoral college. And then guess what? Because electoral college, Trump figured out, and they finally did, that golly gee, if you didn't have the electoral college, and all you had to get was California, New York, and a couple of other big states, and you'd win the elections always and never have to worry about it. But if you use electoral college, all these flyover states, they get to be significant. So what they're going to do, they're going to do away with electoral college. They want to change anything that works against them.
Yeah.
What you got?
Are we going to have another phone call campaign soon?
We will. How soon, I don't know. Our calling campaign will be predicated on timing and specific people that are in a position to make a difference. That's what we're waiting on. But it will come. We will have our day where we rally again. I assure you. What you got?
James, who wants to chain himself to Schiff, says, can't we stage a massive protest at the House, at Congress, demanding the arrest of these deep state criminals and refuse to leave until they're dragged out in handcuffs? I think we're the only ones that would end up dragged out.
James, I appreciate your heart, your desire, your motive. I appreciate that. I truly do. But the first part of what you said is kind of a bad thing, because you said we need to have a massive protest. How are we going to get our people to do a massive protest? How are we going to get our people to go and throw themselves in harm's way and run the risk of being, just sit down and get arrested? Most normal, moral, Christian conservatives just don't do that. And then the net result's going to be that there's just going to be a mass arrest of a bunch of good people, and Schiff's going to laugh at everybody as they're being hauled off to jail, and he's not. What else?
So how can we deal with them? Is there anything that can be done if they can't be arrested?
Stay the course. You stay the course. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to do right now. It may seem like it's not enough. And it may seem like it's not enough. But there are times, Mary Ellen can tell you better than I, there are times when God says, be still. Be still. We don't always want to be jumping and running and hopping and scooting and moving and bobbing and weaving. Sometimes we need to be still. This is the time right now to be still. There is much, much, much work going on that you don't see, that I can't tell you about, other than to say much work is being done in many different fronts. On many different fronts. But please be still right now, and never forget your prime directive. Your prime directive. And I know you get tired of hearing it. I know you're frustrated about it probably. You seem to think maybe you don't have any place to go or people to talk to. Well, your job is to come here, invite others to come here if they will, hear what's said here, and then pass it around to your friends and people that you associate with. Some of those people qualify for what we call the soft base. Some are like you, they're today is another case in point. I need your help. I don't want to ask you, but I got to. Got a weekend coming up. Just things I've got to say. Hey, please help. It's so very serious. And then on top of everything else, I have just about enough on my plate, pressure-wise, that it would sure be great. It would be grand to have at least that part lifted off of me for a few days. Please help. Anything else, Mariana?
How do we motivate the conservative soft base to vote?
How do we what?
How do we motivate the conservative soft base to vote? Do you have any ideas on techniques or ways to target them?
Techniques and ways to target them. All I can tell you is talk to them. Be careful when you talk to them. Don't throw too much at them at one time. When you get somebody that kind of opens up for the first time and kind of asks you something about, what do you think about this or what do you think about that, answer them. But be smart. When we make the greatest error, and we all make it at one time or another, we all do, including me, somebody says, what do you think about this? And it's such a shock coming from somebody that heretofore has never been much to talk about politics. Well, then we answer that question, but then we tell them everything. We just start telling them all of it. Everything we know, we try to tell them. And then you see their eyes roll back in the back of their heads and we lose them. Just answer the question. Be patient. These are soft-based people. Be patient with them. Don't cram too much stuff down. And whatever you do, if they come at you with one of these ding-dong conspiracy things that they've heard, most of the time, folks, they're testing you. They're testing you to see if you believe in such a wacky thing. And if you do, and if you repeat it, we've lost them forever. That's why I work so hard to get y'all not to buy into these crazy conspiratorial stories that are floating around. Don't buy into them because you can't help it. If somebody asks you about it, you mess up and you tell them, and then when you tell them, then you're a nut too. You know, sometimes there's stuff I would like to tell y'all. There really is. Mary Ellen knows that. There's stuff I'd like to tell you that I can't tell you. I can't tell you not because necessarily I can't tell you. It's because it's something that I just know in my heart is true. I know it's the real thing. I know it's going to happen. But you know what? If I can't verify it or prove it, I just can't do it to you. I can't do it to you because I can't bear the thought of telling y'all something that you pass on. And it turns out to be wrong. Then instead of helping you, I've hurt you. And I'm sworn to not do that. Anything else?
Julie asked, how successful was the last call in? I'm not sure what call you're talking about, but I'll tell you, we have had great success in every calling campaign we've had. The bigger our numbers, the more successful we are. But, you know, even with small numbers, the way we do it, we do make a difference.
We use a technique, for those of you that have not been around when we've done it before, we use a technique called force multiplication. And it works. It works every time. Force multiplication is where you take 100 people and through repetition and calling, we become 10,000. And then when we become 10,000, we become 1,000,000. And it's all done with the magic of force multiplication. It truly is. Some of you have seen it, and you've been a part of it. You know, I'm telling you the truth.
Okay, she said count her in. Larry, we've got some other questions, but I think we need to, we're past.
Let them go. I want to answer them to this Friday. Just do it quick, please.
Who do you think is the most dangerous to Trump in the among the Democratic candidates? Is Tulsi?
Probably the has the ability to draw more of the different candidates' base voters to her than any of the others. She's probably the biggest challenge he would have.
Alan Spector was the name that we were trying to remember.
Arlen Spector.
Arlen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Arlen Spector. By the way, 2-3 months after he abstained and pulled off getting Clinton off the hook, his wife was put on the Parks and Tourism Board for a salary of $250,000 a year. So they got rewarded well for what he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna end it here. Folks, his PayPal account is nicholslive@aol.com. And if you're donating, if you text me the amount you have donated, then we have somebody who will match up to $25. She will match. So we do need bigger donations than that if possible. But please.
Guys, today I'm begging you. Can you help today? Please.
It's rough on the weekend because we're not here. And so this is Friday. We're looking at needing to raise money for 3 days. So do what you can. His PayPal is, I put it in the chat already. His PayPal is nicholslive@aol.com. The website nicholslive.com has a donate page that you can get the direct link to his PayPal. It's got its mailing address to send cash only, no checks. If you need to send a check or need some other way to do it, there's a phone number there, 240-499-6729. Text that number and I'll help you find a way.
Yeah, I'm trying to limit having to ask y'all for help because I know that's uncomfortable for you and I know it makes it hard for you to bring people to listen. I'm trying to not have to do it. But today's just one of those days like yesterday. It's just a necessity. You have no idea the schedule I've got to keep. I need your help to keep it. Anybody else? Without that, as he did, everybody a good day. All right, Marion.
All right, thanks, Larry. I got it from here. All right, bye. I'm gonna reach back here and grab just as a reminder, the Never Socialism t-shirt, and I'm sorry about the lighting here, but I don't know what else to do better. The bright yellow is the color it is. It looks really washed out unless it comes, let's see, does that help? See what color it is. The Never Socialism shirt, you can find that on the merchandise page. Larry has a CD that is really nice. And our Never Socialism bumper sticker is available. Those are all on the merchandise page. I don't know if they're going to make any more of these necklaces, but there is a necklace here that says no socialists. There's also, I wish I could take that call. There was a ring that was made out of a quarter. And Charlie, I've got to call you right back. I'm on the YouTube. I'll call you in a minute. That's fine. What time? Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thanks. Sorry, real estate agent. Pray for a sale of my house, folks. I asked as many of the questions as I could. I know there were a whole bunch there that came in that I had missed, and I'm sorry we couldn't do that. If you need to have an answer, we can try again tomorrow. Yes, I know there's a lot of homosexuality among a lot of people in Washington, and how much of the information about that Larry knows. Sometimes he doesn't want to share the information about things like that. So Larry's sounding stronger. I'll tell you, I'm shocked at how good he sounds, given the fact that he's been he's been working unbelievable long hours, starting at 6:30 in the morning and getting off just in time to come on with us, and then getting back on and working till, nearly midnight. I'm absolutely amazed at what God is doing in allowing him to have the stamina for that. And pray for his wife being able to hang in there with all of that. Disco Duck, are you asking if Larry's ill? Because I'm not. Larry is quite, he's been battling some things for several years. He's doing a lot better, but some of these are repercussions of military issues, and who knows, why am I selling my house? Because I can't afford it anymore. I just need to downsize, and it's way bigger than I need. So anyhow, that's all for today. Thank you for being here, and whatever you can do for Larry, please do. Again, nicholslive.com is the website, and Larry's PayPal, nicholslive@aol.com. He cannot cash any checks, so you have to mail cash in the mail, or contact me, and I can help you find another way to donate. So thank you very much. We don't get into the details of Larry's, what he's going through physically, because, HIPAA gives him right to privacy. So it is serious. It has been for quite a while, and he's had a lot of things he's had to deal with from time to time. I mean, he's been poisoned, he's been shot at, he's been, and this has been going on for decades. So thanks for your prayers for him, for me, for his family. Appreciate it. And we will talk on Monday. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Bye.